Thousands of travelers are embarking on a new era of travel at Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport this morning.
The Real ID deadline is here, so what does that mean for everyone looking to fly to their destination? We have team coverage this morning to help guide you on the right path.
Irene will have more on the service centers offering help for those that still need to get their Real ID. But we're going to start with Danielle Miller. She is live this morning at Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport. And Danielle, I know you've been there all morning long. Have you seen any issues?
Yeah, good morning. We've been here since about 4:30 this morning, and so far we have seen 0 issues. So that is definitely some great news here. No additional long lines at security, anything like that. We have seen the TSA agents out here making sure everybody has their Real ID. But there is this section right here that you guys are looking at. If you do not have your Real ID or your passport, you can go through this line here. And as we know, is Homeland Security Chief Kristi Noem. She was saying that you will be allowed to fly for now, but there will be extra steps taken, and it could mean extra screening at security, and that's exactly what this line here at Phoenix Sky Harbor is for. You guys can take a look there. They have signage posted throughout the entire airport. May 7th, which is today, that is the deadline, and you have to have that star in the upper right-hand corner of your driver's license. Now, you also can use a passport, so that will get you through TSA as well. So it is advised that you bring alternative acceptable identification like passports or Department of Homeland Security travel cards to avoid any issues here. The Real ID Act passed in 2005. It sets minimum security standards for state-issued driver's license and identification cards. It also prohibits certain federal agencies from accepting licenses and identification cards from states that do not meet these standards. So you can get a Real ID by making an appointment. You can do so online at any MVD office. You will need documentation with your full legal name, date of birth, social security number, 2 proofs of your address of residence and lawful status. So we spoke with so many travelers out here this morning, and I have to say, everybody was well prepared. Many of these travelers, they got their IDs years ago. Take a listen.
Just coming up with all the, like, you had to have your birth certificate and proof of address, which most everything's online anymore, so proof of address is a little bit harder to find than it used to be.
It was harder for her because her birth certificate for the elderly, they're not real certificates apparently. So we'd apply for one through California, get it mailed, then finally get her actual ID.
My kids did tell me that live here that today was the day. They're like, do you have your Real ID? I'm like, yeah, I have got my Real ID.
And they definitely did. A lot of people said when their IDs expired, that's when they got it. So, which, you know, could have been years ago. But the process is a little tricky. You do have to have all of that identification. But definitely, you need it. TSA agents here busy this morning, making sure everybody has those IDs, I think, right now. So we're at the D gates, Phoenix Sky Harbor. There's been a 5 to 12 minute wait, which is pretty typical, I would say. We're here quite a bit. So this looks very normal, very average for the day. So definitely good news that people heed the warnings to get those Real IDs. We have an entire link about Real IDs. All of the information can be found on our website, fox10phoenix.com. But great news out here this morning. It could change as we know that the airport gets a little bit busier, but so far, so good.
That's great news.
That is good news. I was worried that it was going to be kind of a mess today, but things look like it's running smoothly.
And you ran into some happy travelers.
For sure.
Very friendly. Danielle, thank you.
That's right.
If you haven't received your Real ID and need to,
Irene is live in Avondale at a licensed services center with more. Good morning, Irene.
Good morning, guys. Well, yeah, this is one of the several places in the Valley where you're able to get a Real ID if you haven't done so already. So we're here with Howard this morning. You have 5 different locations across the Valley, one in Flagstaff, too, you mentioned. So what do people need to do if they're watching this today? Maybe they're freaking out. They're like, I haven't gotten my Real ID yet. What do they need to do?
They need to come into the office with a birth certificate or a passport, 2 pieces of mail, and their current driver's license if they have one, or else they can get an ID for the first time to be able to travel.
And then how long does that process take?
About 15 minutes.
And then, like, as far as getting the Real ID, so this isn't like someone's watching this, they need to travel on a plane today. They're not going to be able to get a Real ID today. How long does it take for them to get that in the mail?
2 weeks.
2 weeks?
2 to 3 weeks.
Well, that's not too bad. Maybe they should have started a few weeks ago, but, you know, there's still, as long as the trip's in a few weeks, they should be okay on that end, right?
Right.
All right, and then where are your different locations?
There's 6 locations exactly. Avondale, Levine, Three in Phoenix and one in Flagstaff.
And where's the location we're at now? We're in Avondale. Where exactly is this located?
Liesel, Felix, and Van Buren, right near Dysart.
Okay. And what are you expecting today as far as crowds? You don't open until 7:30, just a little after 7 o'clock now.
It's been very crowded. Business is up about 170% since people are realizing about the Real ID. And I don't think it's going to let up for a while.
What about yesterday? What was that like?
It was pretty chaotic.
Yeah. Okay, so people come in here, they bring their pieces of mail, they bring their license, their passport, their birth certificate. Anything else they need to know when they come in here as far as the process?
Usually it's in and out, but because of the amount of traffic at the field offices and all that kind of stuff, it's been very busy. So you just got to wait a little longer than usual. But it's still about a third of the time that you would have to wait at the field offices.
Yeah. All right, well, that sounds great. We appreciate your time. One of the many spots, as Howard mentioned, where you can get that Real ID here if you haven't done so already for travel, whatever else you need. We'll send it back to you this morning.
All right, Irene, thank you. So time now, 7:10. This brings us to our poll question.
Yes, so here's your question this morning. Do you have your Real ID? 67% of you say yes, 33% of you say no, and we'd love to hear from you. You can scan that QR code there on your screen. It'll take you right to the poll, and you can vote there on the site.